Hey, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm well blessed. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good. We're just gonna wait for
So the others.
the beautiful Reese. Obviously, he's gonna be fashionably late.
Would
Always, always.
we have it any other way?
So I'm gonna try and put the topic on the pin it, but I don't know how to do it. But I'm gonna see if I can work out how to do the topic. Um, right. So I think I do that, and then do I pin it somehow? Pin. Does that come up on the thing to say?
I can see it. Yeah.
Yay. Okay, so monogamy, polygamy, and polyamory. I don't really know much about polyandry, so do you know much about polyandry?
No, me, I'm more coming from a monogamous background, really, and looking to explore the polyamory and polygamy. So I was looking for kind of people who had more experience to share.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in the logistics of how that can work, some of the
Yeah.
emotions that might raise,
Mm, yeah.
and how a man should behave, really, if he's thinking about multiple women.
Yeah. Let me message. Let me message Reese and see where he's at. You know what? I'm gonna continue, and when he jumps in, he jumps in. So
Let's
like,
continue.
yeah, let's continue. Reese can come when he comes. So as we know, there's obviously different types of relationships. We've got monogamy, polyamory, polygamy, and polyandry. And what I'm finding is a lot of people are in non-consensual polygamy, polyamorous relationships, dressing it up as monogamy. So
That's right.
in my mind, I'm like, why aren't we discussing and exploring the openness to be in these other types of relationships if it means that people are not going to be hurt, they're not going to be lied to, cheated on? What are we missing and what are we not discussing that could be discussed in order for people to be in relationships and then be successful relationships, and instead of ending up with single parent households?
Mm.
Because um cheating is infidelity is one of the reasons why people get divorced, right? Or most relationships break up. And so,
Well, this is one of the major points, isn't it? Because a lot of people say that men can't be faithful, so this is the only other option.
well, biologically, you're not designed. You can choose to, you can choose to be monogamous, but biologically, you're not designed that way. And that's
Mm.
okay to acknowledge. And then, but a lot of people are not acknowledging that and then staying in relationships, cheating, and then being like, oh, well, men do what men do, which in my eyes, it doesn't compute. Why not have relationships and that are based on honesty, communication, if monogamy isn't that something that person's going to choose to do or want to choose to do?
I think sometimes it's that vulnerability and the honesty to be able to actually say to a woman, "This is what I want,"
Mm.
without how many women are happy to receive this type of conversation without it then being an issue. You know, because sometimes you can raise the issue. A man can say, "Okay, this is what I've been thinking about," and the woman can disagree.
Mm-hmm.
But then is it then still going to be an issue if the man's accepted? Okay, I just raised this. I
Mm-hmm.
know you don't agree with it. Okay, I don't agree with it. I'm going to agree with you. We're just going to carry on as we are. But then will it still be an issue that you had these thoughts
Yeah.
of wanting other women,
Have,
etc.?
have you explored other types of relationships apart from monogamy?
I've had open relationships, and I'm in a new relationship now, so which is monogamous, but we're open to options.
Which would be
So
in a polyamorous situation or a polygamous? Would she then be able to also have multiple partners, or would it just be you that's having multiple partners?
well, it would probably be her, but of a female nature.
Sounds like the dream for you.
Yeah. So
Life
So
will
for
be.
me, I said if she ever comes across somebody, then for me, she can bring that woman, not me bringing a woman. So I think that
Okay.
makes it a bit more comfortable because I don't feel like I need anything
Oh, okay.
more personally. Do you know what I mean? But it's always nice to have, another woman around, more help,
Mm.
more affection, more emotion, more support.
Yeah, definitely. I hear that. Um, so do you feel that monogamy for you would be the most successful type of relationship for you to be in that kind of setup?
Um, in my hearts of hearts, I do, because I feel for me, there's enough woman in one woman.
There's enough of us that in
You can have a
one.
polyamorous relationship just with one woman. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? She's got her cycle happening all through the month. She has she's in her masculine sometimes, she's in her feminine, she's upset, she's not. Do you know what I mean? So there's lots to handle, and in the Islamic faith, it says if you have more than one woman, you have to treat them all equally.
Mm.
So this is another thing. Like, if you're gonna have multiple women, are you gonna have a favorite? Like, how's it gonna work?
Yeah.
Um, Financially, you're gonna support them all? Because this is, I mean, this is kind of like kingship. And sometimes when I hear about people talking about polygamy and polyamory, I don't see this kingship. I just see lots of sex.
Well, that
Do you
was
know what
going
I
to be
mean?
one of my questions. I've put
Mm,
polygamy seems to have been over sexualized from what I see online. Is polygamy just about sexual partners? And from what I've read and what I understand of it, it's more of a economic structure that's been set up in different faiths in order for things to work. Um,
that's right.
and so I feel like the West has turned, and the like, I was also going to mention that, like, it seems to be like a craze now that it's the right thing to do. Well, nobody wants to commit to anybody because that comes with work, so they're just like putting a label of polyamory on it so that they can just have sex with multiple people without the responsibility of being committed to one person. And from what I understand is that polygamy, like you said, if you can't afford more than one wife, you don't have more than one wife. If you can't
That's
afford more
right.
than one partner, you can't. And if you can't afford to emotionally support all of those partners, you don't have more than one. So it's not
That's
just a
right.
free for all to get your willy wet.
Because it's creation, isn't it? Like you say, we know the act of sex. It's sexual alchemy. So I don't know. It's maths. You're dividing it out. So it's for me. It's crucial that if it is happening, that the energy is kind of in one direction. Do all these people know each other, or is it just a secret that when you go out, you do your own thing,
Mm.
or I don't know.
If anybody has anything that they want to add to this conversation, feel free to request to come up, because the more input on these things from different perspectives is always a good thing, I feel, especially from a male's perspective. For me to gain that insight is always a good thing. Um,
Because
um,
one thing that I heard as well, I was watching a lecture from Dr. Umar Johnson, and he was talking about the increase of single families and single women, and how that's possibly related to children being abused in the house. And if women were in a relationship with a man who was invested, it brings protection to the woman and to the children in that home.
Somebody's asked in the comments, what if we need different things from different people, emotional from one person and sexual from the other? I would always say that if the person that you're with isn't able to give you what you need, whether it be sexually or emotionally, communication, like talking to that person. And there has to be a level of, one, reality and honesty, because I think a lot of people, like you said, they'll have the conversation and then either it'll get shut down and the person will just give up on their desires, their wants and their needs in order to stay in that committed relationship, or what will happen is non-consensual poly relationships, which is just cheating. So for me, it's like, if you're unfulfilled in a relationship, whatever it looks like, if that person doesn't align with you on any of the levels, that's like, okay, I'm going to compromise, and you can have sexual needs met by somebody else or emotional needs met by somebody else, then you're not right for each other. I don't know why people hold on to this like thing of we have to like stay together to the point of we hate each other. Like, why not leave on an understanding and a place of love, rather than like chip away at each other? What do you
and the connection of everything as well. Like, people have, like you said, the question, emotion from one person and, you know, physicality from another person, but you can have both.
from the same
And when you
person?
can get both, like the emotion and the physical connection, it's much more powerful,
When it's from the
and the
same person?
intimacy is so much greater than, like, because I've had a long way of being, you know, being at Gallis and back a day, and now I've moved through and done tantric work and semen retention, and now I understand that the power that's involved in creation, it's not to be trifled with. It's not to be just dipped and mixed with anyone.
Do you feel that your tantra and your semen retention as a man is an important path to go on prior to being able to fully be monogamous with one person?
Oh, for sure, because that sexual energy, it's almost like an addictive energy. And women know, women have the power, you know, power to pump up. That's
Yeah,
what they
power
call it. Like
pussy, power
yeah,
pussy.
man, it exists. It's powerful. Um, and if you're a man, you need to worship it and understand how it works. Um, because men can get hypnotized by it and, you know, throw away their whole life
Literally.
over a night with a woman. Do you know what I mean? Like, are you all right, mate? No.
No, I lost my soul in her vagina.
Sorry, I don't know what your pum pum did to me.
It took my soul.
This is the
Yeah.
thing. So, and it's the honesty. On the other side of the reflection to the question, are you telling everybody what you're doing? So, are you saying to this person, I'm having sex with this other person because they give me more emotional support, and I'm having sex with this person because, I don't know, maybe they're better than you. I don't know. Is that what it means? Is that person
Well,
better in bed?
within polyamory, there's also subcategories. So you've got polygamy and polyamory. Polygamy is obviously the man has multiple wives, partners. Polyamory, both of them, but there's different subcategories within it. So you've got like tabletop, can't remember them all, but you've got like tabletop, where it's like everybody knows everything and everything's discussed. Then you have like, I don't want to know, but I know that you're having multiple partners. And so there's subcategories below the polyamorous umbrella of relationships. So again, I think it's having that conversation with your partner to understand what they're okay with, because some women might be okay with you, oh, not okay, but might understand on a logical level that, okay, he needs X, Y, and Z, but emotionally, would I want my partner coming home being like, oh yeah, I was just balls deep in this girl down the road? Like, no, I don't want to know. Like, I wouldn't want to know. I 100% could not. I've explored the idea of polyamory because I like to explore ideas. And there's no way I could do it. I don't want to share my partner. I wouldn't share my knickers, so I'm not going to share my partner with anybody at any given time. So that's just like, for me personally, emotionally, I wouldn't be able to do it at all. Do you feel that, what do you think that the main emotional impact is from having these opposite, like these relationships that are polygamous and polyamorous, like in terms of what arises, especially, and do you think it's different for men and women?
I definitely think it's different for men and women. I think men have a lot of ego attached to the woman was doing the same thing that they were doing, and then try um, and I'm open to hear other versions if anybody wants to jump in that's listening, but
Yeah.
more so that they can, for some reason, they're more weighted to go and have more partners than the woman, not for whatever reason that be.
Mm.
Um, I don't know. So I think it is slightly different for women. Um, women are containers as well, so I understand that.
By containers, what do you mean?
Women contain energy, so um, men release into women. So if you're in a polyamorous relationship, you're going to be getting the energy of this man
Mm. Yeah, that's
more
true.
so
Well, we're the
because you're
receivers.
carrying him inside you.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say we're the receivers, so that's why when women have multiple partners, I'm sure they're a bit
Mm.
booky. I'm sure,
Yeah, because it's
I'm
the
sure this
energy,
is why
isn't it?
women are crazy
It's the
sometimes.
consciousness.
Yeah, because and also they're taking on that person's trauma. They're taking on that person's like karmic trauma as well. Like it's not even probably from that lifetime, it's maybe from other
Mm.
times that they're then consuming. And if you're having multiple unconscious relationships with just whoever, you're going to be absorbing. And also women, men leave behind hooks in women's wombs, which then can create, like, this is why women have so many things wrong with their wombs, because that's where we
Mm.
hold all our trauma. And so if we're holding our own trauma there, then we're holding our generational trauma there. And then also we're having like unconscious sex with multiple partners. We're then also holding all of that inside of us. And then wondering why we're
Can't
crazy.
think straight.
Why
I
men are
know.
like, this bitch is crazy.
Creating the chaos.
Yeah. Well,
Mm.
Reese,
So I think a lot of people try. So I would say it was different. Yeah. Um, then you have kind of like a sister wife situation though, where
yeah,
the women are very close
yeah.
and
Sausage
they
sisters,
help and support each other. Hmm?
sausage sisters, it's called on TikTok. Like what?
Sausage sisters.
We're
No.
like high fiving each other over like having the same dick. Like why? Like it's wild to me that like yeah, sausage sisters. That's what they call it. Obviously, it's the same as sister wives. I guess they have this, but I guess sister wives is more of a sisterhood. And well, sausage wives, according to TikTok's version,
Because
is
sex doesn't always have to be involved. Do you know what I mean? You could just be supporting somebody.
yeah, and that's in polyamory. Definitely, you could have an emotional connection to somebody that it's just like he comes and fixes my skirting boards when they
Plumbing.
my
I've come
plate.
to fix your plumbing.
My sink is leaking.
Yeah.
Can't help.
Come on.
Uh-uh. Well, Mr. Reese,
So would you definitely not be involved in a polyamorous relationship?
no.
I don't even know if I'm using the right terminology, but a
Um,
multiple. Look, I'll just use simple language. Multiple person.
multiple person relationship. Would I be in a polyamorous relationship? No. Um, I I like to be claimed and I like to claim. So on a very freeing level at the
Is
same
that
time.
ownership? Like an
No,
ownership
in
type.
the same sense of like I want the freedom and I want them to have the freedom to be able to communicate openly at all given times. So if there's ever a moment within my marriage, within my relationship where my partner's like, you know what, my needs are not being met here, I'm open to the
Mm.
conversation. But when going into it, I feel like there would need to be a really secure foundation within my marriage before anybody or anything was ever introduced into that space, if that makes sense. Like
Makes
it could just be
perfect
a
sense.
free for all at the beginning because it would just get confusing. It would
Mm.
then like, are you hers? Are you like where like do we like say what day you're at my house and what day like it's just relationships and getting to know one person is hard enough.
Deep enough. Mm.
And all their trauma and all their isms and all of their space that you want to hold for that person, I'm then holding space for all of the women that he would also be sleeping with. because energetically it's not just him. It's all of the people that he's also sleeping with. So for me, it's like, no, I need it to be just the two of us for a certain, and also it probably taps into my own trauma of like being cheated on, lied to, and all of these things, that I just think that to create a really secure bond with one person is more important than having multiple people to meet all of these needs that, you know, earthly desires. Like, if I have no control over my immediate need, then how am I ever going to have this really deep, transcendent relationship that doesn't need words? We don't need words. That, like, the energy that's created between us is just so, like, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Tantra here, aren't I?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm in that now.
No
You know what I
words,
mean? I
like,
know
I'm
what you're
there with
talking
you,
about.
Neil. I'm there with you. That is what I want. And the moment you add more energy into that space is the more that it just gets confusing. And I want us to be grounded and rooted in each other before there's any branches of the tree added to it. I mean, maybe like one day I would be like, okay, yeah, I'm open to another woman, or just another woman. I don't think I'd want more penis in my relationship.
Well, it's good productivity, isn't it, to do something well once. So if you're going to have multiple relationships, it's good to have one first.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that's where people go wrong, is that they are like, yeah, I want a polyamorous relationship, because they don't really want to commit.
That's right, to anyone.
No. And they're just like, oh yeah, let's just have a polyamorous relationship, and then I can use the title, so then I can say that I'm this like free spirit that's open and communicative, and really they're just getting their willy wet. It's just the same as being single. You're just single.
It is.
You're just single and
But
telling.
something that I've found is that women seem to be very interested in the topic when men say that they're polyamorous. Like, women kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
So there seems to be some interest somewhere around.
I think it's because with polygamy, women only get one man. With polyamorous relationships, she also gets to explore.
Okay.
So she's not confined to, oh, well, I only get one partner, but then I'm going to be thinking about you with all these other women. Yeah, and she gets, like somebody in the comments was saying, like, what if my emotional needs? And a lot of women, 70% of women have to finish themselves off after sex because they're not being satisfied by their men. 70% of women. So, and there's like top 20% of men are having sex with all the women. So, I mean, the numbers are kind of like matching up here, that like most men are not having sex, but the men that are having, like 70% of women are not satisfied in their marriages or their relationships physically. And I think that also links to emotional, because for women, it's intimacy, it's the slowness, it's the all of, well, you know, it's all of that that gets us to that point. And men don't want to do that. They just want to bang, go to sleep.
Not all of us.
Not all of you. Well, 70% of men don't want to do that. So the 70% of men that don't want to take time to learn their woman's body, learn the intimacy, slow down a bit. Like, everybody's in a rush, like rushing to the finish. Sex isn't meant to be a rush to the finish. It's meant to be an exploration.
Experience.
An experience, exactly. And that's what's missing. And so I think if Tantra was taught to young men, intimacy was taught to young men, not taking away their masculinity, adding a level of intimacy with their partner, and allowing, and also young women were taught to communicate. It's okay to tell your partner what you like. It's okay to tell your partner how you want to be touched. All of that's okay. And there's no shame in any of that. I think we would have more fulfilled sexual relationships within monogamy. And then people may not actually be even looking for polyamory and polygamy and all of these other types of relationships.
Searching for happiness.
Is it Jordan Peterson? He's my new favorite person. I fucking love him.
He's great, isn't
I
he?
know. I only just found him. I didn't only just find him. I had his book, but I didn't realize it was his book. And what was it he said? Oh, I can't remember what he said. It's not happiness. If we always search for happiness, we will always be like unhappy, basically, because happiness is fleeting. Happiness never stays. Like if we
Never.
happiness is just a release of like chemicals in our body that we're
Yeah.
like, oh, I feel good. Like just the same as being sad is also a release of toxins in your body. So it's like, I think being in a place of what's the word? Being in a place of acceptance of what you choose is on you and not the other person. Because I think we choose people because for what they can give us, not for what we can give them. And then we're unhappy because they're not fulfilling us all the time and making us happy. Which Reese, the little turnip, we said it in the time for Reese, and
it's the freedom of life, isn't it? You know.
Yes, flow with it. Yeah.
But it'd be really good to have him here, though, because he's got a really good perspective.
Well, exactly.
Around how he experiences life.
Yeah,
and relationships.
I don't know how to. Well, because he would be here if he was like, oh, let me send him an invite. I've sent him an invite. Maybe he's like flowing around his bedroom or something and forgot. I've sent breathing into his space. I've sent him a request, and so let's see if he's gonna get it, because I would like his perspective on polyamory, because he is a little.
I think about, you know, I've got children as well. I'm in the next door. I've got a home life, so there needs to be some familiarity, really. And this is why I was hoping Reese could have given some light on this side of things. Of like, is it just people just rolling through, or like I said, do you have a relationship?
Let me get up the.
Like, is it a relationship or is it just sex? I'm not sure.
So what we've got for polyamory, the different types of polyamory, we've got V, which resembles the shape of V. So one person dates two people who are not involved with each other. Then you've got a triad, which are three people involved sexually in a relationship. For instance, a male-female couple get involved, which is pretty much what you were saying. Like, you would then be open to, so you would be called a triad at that point. Then you've got quad, where that's four people who are involved sexually with each other. So you would have two couples getting involved with each other. So say, I had a couple, you were a couple, and we were like, yo, do you want to have sex with my husband? I have sex with my wife.
Yeah, man.
And then you have hierarchical, I can never say that word, polyamory, which is one person is in the relationship and they're like always the main person, and then anybody that is brought in is like side chick, I guess. So they'll have like one person who has all their finances and stuff, and then they'll have people outside of the marriage. And then you have non-hierarchical, which is nobody prioritizes a single relationship. Those involved are more concerned about their needs being fulfilled. I guess this is what Reese is in. Concerned about their needs being fulfilled by setup they're in, or they all get an equal say in the relationship and also makes decisions. Oh no, that would be that everybody is open and it's spoken about and they're all.
It's the speaking about, that's the key.
Well, this is the kitchen table polyamory, which is a type of polyamory relationships involves hanging out with each other, which may or may not be romantic. Not all partners may be sexually involved, but they are comfortable enough to have meals together. That would be weird. Oh, but if they're not all sexually involved, then I guess it's just like a group of mates hanging out.
It is.
Hence the name kitchen table polyamory. But I mean, isn't that just friends hanging out? How is that now a subcategory of a sexual relationship?
Kitchen table.
That's just,
Because you love them.
yeah, but you love your friends. Like, that's love is love. I love you. So are we in a polyamorous relationship?
We're in kitchen table.
We're in a kitchen table. Like, Reese is in a kitchen table. Benny's in a kitchen table. We're all just in one big kitchen table. This is one bliss. We're all in one massive kitchen table. This is all.
Maybe.
Oh, massive kitchen table. Then you've got parallel.
It's a big kitchen table.
Big. Then you've got parallel polyamory, which is opposite. Parallel. Yeah. Which is the opposite, where the people involved are not friendly with each other, for instance. They don't interact and they're only concerned with their relationship with one person, but then they'll have sex with the other people at the kitchen table. I don't know. And then solo polyamory, which here's a person who has no priority except themselves. They are involved with several partners and do not have, this is just single, and do not have any priority relationship. This person has a no strings attached relation with and only concerned with having their needs met and is not interested in a serious relationship. So they're the subcategories underneath. So, I mean, I know two people then that are in that last one. And surprisingly enough, not surprisingly, they're both men.
What does that mean?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of men are in non-consensual polyamorous relationships anyway. They just do what they want.
They must be in it with a woman.
Huh?
Are they in it with a woman?
No, well, yeah, they're in it with multiple women. They're just not committed to any one person. So they'll just have lots and lots of sexual partners and put it under the I'm polyamorous category, and I'm not committing to one person. I think that's what Reese is in.
Well, this is the thing, because the stage in life where I am, I think it's hard to have sex without manifestation. So when you're having sex with these people, what is it that what are you creating with them? Do you know what I mean? Like
sexual diseases.
And sometimes a lot of mix up in mental health, but sometimes you might create a business.
That's true. That's true. That's where the economic side of it comes into it. A lot of relationships end up economically. One woman will have a business with your partner, and it won't be necessarily sexual. But then isn't that just that's his business partner? Is it? Why does it have to be polyamory? If there's no sex involved, then it's just his business partner, no?
But it's about love, not sex. That's why.
Okay, so they love each other, but they're not having sex with each other.
That's right.
Do you think many men can do that?
No.
So they're just waiting to get.
Not many men can be around a woman and not love them and still not have sex with them. So loving them as well, this is going to be even more difficult.
So what does that mean? Every man that's around me that loves me wants to have sex with me.
That loves you.
Yeah. Well, unless they're
not necessarily would want to, but possibly would do.
If it was up
if not the opportunity, but the situation occurred. He's a man. He loves you.
And
you're beautiful. Like why wouldn't he?
Do you think that the love element and the sex element is very separate for men then? Do you think men are actually looking at the love element of it in polyamory or polygamous relationships?
I can't speak for all men, but for me, I am. But I don't know what other men. I don't even know if, like polyamory, like multiple love. So sometimes I'm thinking, where is the love? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, what does that love look like?
Yeah, it's just multiple. It's multiple sex. It's not multiple love. But if you can find someone to love, and if men can actually go through that process, You don't even need to have sex with them.
The
You can
men,
just love them.
that's true. But I mean, again, do you feel that you can say that from where you're at because you've done semen retention, you've
Oh, so much work.
you've done so much work, and how many men out there can actually retain their semen for as long? How long did you do?
Um, 30 days. Did do like a 30-day semen retention course with Jason. Check him out.
Oh, he's great.
And yeah, 30-day tantra challenge. So it's a lot of breath work. Focuses on sometimes you do edging, which helps with the semen retention. So then when you put yourself around women,
What is edging? Just in case people don't know what edging is.
oh, so edging is when you kind of level yourself through your orgasms up until climax.
Mm.
So when you're a younger man, you're very orgasm focused. That's all you want to do. Just want to bust off, man. Do you get me? Bust off, bust off, bust off. But if you can edge, it gives the woman time to come through and catch you up, and you can release the sacred waters because you take your time and you don't even really, I don't know. Coming's for women, man.
It's what?
Men, orgasms are for women.
And so what for men?
Um, Men are meant to enjoy the woman having her orgasm,
Mm.
and then she goes up a level and up a level and up a level, as women do. And this is why sometimes it's hard because women are very spiritual and emotional, and men are very in the physical realm.
Mm.
So once that physicality is gone, sometimes the interest goes as well. Whereas what I found was if you can hold your semen, you hold the interest.
Yeah. Yeah. Because once they've reached their objective, it's then like I'm not going to put that work into taking 45 minutes to get you to where you need to be a lot of the time.
Mm.
Mm, that's it. So do you think polygamous relationships would solve or would help with the single parent crisis that we're seeing?
I think it would. Yeah,
There's actually there was
100%.
I was reading this thing that they were saying over 20,000 people are in polygamous relationships in the UK, and there's that much of a demand that there's actually like a agency that like set up affluent men with multiple women in polygamous relationships, and a lot of the women that enter into those spaces are single mothers or women that want to be in that kind of setup. I guess because security and
And the way the modern woman is built nowadays as well. You know, a lot of the times, and it's a shame to say, but the modern woman, they don't really want men around. They don't really need men. They want to do everything themselves. They've got their own life. They've got their own money. They're doing everything that they're doing. So for them, it works for a man that they trust to come into that when needed and necessary and then be gone again.
but do you think it's because society is oh, feminism has made it glorified being in our masculine energy so much to the point where we think we don't need men when we do need men. We need
Mm.
men just as much as men need women. And so like it would help with the crisis that we have now, but how do we stop it from the crisis continuing and children and us keep creating this ideal that women are okay to be alone, because we're not okay to be alone. We're not okay to raise children on our own. We put our
That's
children,
so good to hear that. You don't hear that.
we're putting our children at a disadvantage. But and I will say that I did that when I left my son's father. But at the same time, would I change it? No. What I would change is my choice in men.
Mm.
Like the way in which I looked at being a parent, the way in which I looked at myself as a woman from a feminine energy, not from a masculine energy. I was taught from a really young age that you don't need no man, because my mum was obviously a product of that era of feminism. You can do everything on your own, blah blah blah. And then by the age of 3, my mantra pretty much was, I'm going to be a single mum with a little girl called Aisha. By the age of 16, what was I? A single mother with a little girl called Aisha, because I didn't think I needed a man. And now, and then even when I left my son's father, like, I was like, oh, I need you. I fucking do need you. Come back. Not come back as in come back to me, but come back that my son needs you, and my son needs you on a daily basis. And if obviously it can't be on a daily basis, it needs to be as much as possible, because it takes 2 people to raise. Actually, it takes a whole village to raise a child, not just 2. But for boys especially, boys need their dads. And
They do.
I can't do.
Girls need their dads as well.
Even more so. It's
You know what I mean? Like, just that, the presence of the masculine energy, non-toxic. Let me highlight. It's so crucial. The balance of masculine and feminine energy. It's amazing when it comes together.
Yeah, it's
and that's why I do. You know, I have got a soft spot for monogamy, and that's what I'm. You know, I appreciate. If a man and a woman can come together in union, it is a wonderful thing.
It is beautiful.
It is a wonderful thing, and it is divine. And I have my own belief system, and for my knowings, the creator is man and woman.
Yeah.
So when man and women join back, that is the closest thing that I believe we can get back into being into position of God, which is why it feels how it does when we make love together.
Yeah. Do you think that having a rooted faith, whatever that looks like, is imperative for a successful relationship as a man and as a woman?
Rooted? Did you say rooted?
Yeah, so rooted in faith. So I say faith because you may have a religion that is opposing different to mine, but having a complete faith, and faith just means like I believe. Your belief.
I think it does. I think it does. I'm a God-fearing man, you know. I'm trying to achieve Christ consciousness. And I believe, from my experience, the master teachers that I'm speaking to, they have very nice families. They have very nice relationships with their wives. And they put the creator first because they know that creation is woman. So you have to bow down to her. And it's a bit of an oxymoron, because once you do that and give that to a woman, she gives you everything.
Exactly.
And like, men think it's an ego thing, but it's not, because once you do that, she submits to you and gives you everything that you need, rather than this, that. I want my dinner on my table when I get home. If you treat your woman nice enough, when you get home, your dinner will be there, mate.
Literally, right?
Happily.
I think that's the and this is why I'm like, always love having you, Reese, all of these divine men around my son, because when he hears these things, and these are the lessons and the things that he's going to be learning, for me is an important part, I think, of raising a modern man, because I can't raise a traditional man he can have traditional values, but at the same time, he's always going to be a modern man. So just like a lot of men are going to be, because they're not raised in traditional households. So
that's right. And when you bring that kind of masculinity forward, it changes the world. Like you're saying, you can access young people and show them, and it comes full circle back around to having multiple wives. I think I saw a podcast, I can't even remember where it was, but they were asking women who had rich husbands, if your husband cheated on you, would you leave him?
Oh,
And most of them were like,
they're not gonna leave the money.
this is what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's treating me good. Do you know what I mean? He's giving me everything I need.
But
Life is
then,
good.
that's what I'm saying. So, like, why wouldn't women, like, if a rich
If you
husband,
can afford it, yeah.
you've got to be able to afford it. What's happening is a lot of men are hearing this and be like, yeah, it's not in my biology to be
Yeah.
monogamous. I'm going to have lots of vagina. And then they're also then lie about it and then wonder why their partner's going absolutely mad and keying their cars and stuff.
That's right. It's not about
Because,
vagina, it's about lifestyle. If
mm,
you can provide a lifestyle, I'm sure women will be happy. But can you provide the lifestyle?
and I don't think necessarily always lifestyle because it's all subjective to each person. For me, it wouldn't necessarily be lifestyle because I'm not sold on things. I need experiences with you. So if you can
Mm.
emotionally be there, obviously I don't want you wanting me to pay for dinner, but I ain't gonna be doing that. But you know, for me, security in terms of financially isn't my driving force. But if emotionally and mentally and all of these things that I put loads of value on, can manage it between multiple people, then would I be as opposing to you having, because then probably things physically that I wouldn't give my partner if he asked me. I'd be like, go elsewhere again. And I'd be quite happy for him to go elsewhere again. I'd be like, yeah, okay, see you on Monday. Bye.
Yeah.
If I didn't want to do it, I'm gonna be like, no, you can't have it. Yeah, it's an interesting space that
Because
I guess
there's so much cheating happening, and women are doing a lot of forgiving as
women are
well.
cheating just as much. The fuck, women are just better
But
at
from my
lying.
experience, I could be wrong. From my experience, men don't forgive as much.
No, no, no,
I
no.
think women are more cheating and not getting found out and
Yeah,
just
yeah,
going
yeah.
about their
Well,
day.
'yeah, yeah,
Men are
yeah,
cheating, getting caught.
yeah, yeah. Because men are
And that's
stupid.
probably why they're getting forgiven and not even thinking about it. You get me? They're probably thinking, oh, she forgave me. Why is
Yeah,
she forgiving?
first time.
That's
Yeah,
why she's forgiving you, bro. That's
yeah.
why she
But
forgave
she's
you.
still doing it. She never stops while you're like, yeah, she's so forgiving, and she's still getting her back blown out by Tyrone at the gym.
That's right. She was like, Tyrone. She's been at it again.
You want to meet up in the hot tub?
Mm.
Oh, let me see if
So it's the beauty of the honesty that you can provide. But
yeah.
I think there is, like, my partner at the moment, I don't need, she provides everything that I need. I
Oh,
don't
he's
need,
beautiful
I don't
that.
need anything.
He's
But
fun.
funnily enough, before I met her,
Yeah,
I didn't need anything either,
yeah. I
you
think
know? So
being whole before you meet somebody, that person will only
crucial.
ever add more value to what you already have. I think when
Mm.
people are lacking and they go into a relationship, they then expect so much from that person that they're then always looking for lack in that person because they're lacking in themselves as well. So when there's lack here, I'm only ever going to see the lack that is there. But
Yes.
because there's so much love and so full here, all I'm going to see is the love that I'm receiving because it's mirrors, isn't it? So you're seeing the love
Mm.
in her because you've done so much work previous to that. That all you're seeing is the love that she's feeding you because you're also feeding her love because the pot that you're feeding her from is just love.
Mm.
So when people lack and then they're like, oh, my boyfriend's this, my boyfriend, yeah, because you need to do a bit of work. Like I've been in that place pretty much the whole loving you is easy because you're beautiful.
And
But
the self-love, like, I mean, it's really,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
men, we don't know how to love. And this is the thing, like, love is feminine,
Mm.
you
Well,
know? It's not a masculine,
no.
or if the
Well, no,
masculine
because
love
love is
is,
an
well, it's
action.
provision, it's emotion, and it's a verb, you know?
I'm
So
confusing.
it's, from a masculine man, if I'm providing and kind of doing physicality things in the physical realm, that's me showing I love you, even if I don't say it.
Yeah. Yeah,
If
yeah.
I'm working 40 hours a day, do you know what I mean? Buying you things, this, that, like, what do you mean I don't love you? You never told me. Like, I'm
What?
breaking my back all day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's
Whereas the
where
women, they come from the spiritual realm, do you know?
to feel
And
it.
this is what it softens you up, you know? Like, since I've fallen in love, it's softened me as a man.
Definitely. Even I've not like I could tell you
And
you're in love.
yeah, and that's what the world needs more of. The world needs more of men that are in love.
The world needs more partners that are in love with each other because we will have less,
Yes.
not partners, men and women that are divinely in love to a point of acceptance and willing to compromise, because a lot of times people don't want to compromise and relationships are just one big compromise. Because you're gonna have to
And
compromise later.
dealing with your triggers.
Yeah, well,
So, I teach yoga. My partner, she's teaching yoga. She's doing a yoga course. So we're sometimes our arguments, they're really funny. Like, we're like, I understand and hear you. I'm very triggered right now. I'm going to take some breaths and I'll call you back and we can discuss this later.
I love
And the
that
other
though. That's
person's like,
how.
okay, I'm very triggered by the fact that you're going to get off the phone because I've still got some stuff I want to say. But I hear you, I understand you, and I'm allowing you to be free. I'll speak to you later. I love you.
And that's that conflict resolution,
It's
and
hard though,
it is hard,
because the
but
monkey brain thinks,
but what doesn't happen from that is nobody's hurt. Nobody ends
mm,
up saying things that they don't
that's
mean.
right.
Nobody's triggered to the point of like, oh fuck this, I don't want to do this relationship anymore. They're in
Mm,
a place of like, you can't argue with when you know that somebody's doing something out of love in that space. But if you keep pushing, like, no. And that would then be for your selfish reasons, not because you love that person. Like if you
that's
then push
right.
the conversation, it would then be like, oh, I'm pushing it, pushing it, pushing it because I need my needs met in this moment of conflict. I just want to argue. Actually, it's just your
And then
chimp.
there's no resolution.
Did you read the chimp paradox in the end?
I only little bits and pieces, not from front to back. I never really read a book front to back. I'm like,
Well,
what part are you referring to?
in the chimp paradox, most of the time, when you get to that point where you're saying, hey, I'm triggered, I'm going to get off the conversation, most people won't recognize that they're triggered and their chimp will take over the conversation. And then their chimp
Mm,
is in defense. And so then you've got two chimps just monkey braining each other, like, yeah, being my chimp, I'm
yeah.
strong, and I'm going to beat you to death with my words. And
And then
then,
you've got all that horrible words in your mind, then that you regret that you didn't say.
exactly. So that's beautiful that you've got to a place of um what would you call it? I wouldn't even call it happiness. I think it's beyond happiness because love is beyond
Oh,
happiness.
actualization.
Mm, I love that.
Yeah, it's that place where, yeah, you just kind of you can self-actualize around what's happening and be self-aware of. I can see myself in this situation. Do you know what I mean? Like I can see
Yeah.
how I'm going on. So
The
stop.
self-awareness.
It's key. It's a key characteristic if you want to get into a relationship. How
Yeah.
self-aware is the person about their own behavior and what they're doing?
So do you think that going into a polyamorous relationship, you would even more self? Everybody would
Massively
have to be
more.
self-aware. Every
Yeah.
single person. So then that makes it even harder to choose people that you want to exchange it, like, because it's not just one person's self-awareness you need. You need however many people are within
Multiple
that.
awarenesses. And is it like what is like you said, what's the purpose and the interest of the poly? Is it like you said, is it because of non-attachment, non-commitment? Is there some trauma there? Like why don't you just want a partner?
Yeah. What are you
Is
running
just
from? Because one partner
mm,
can mirror you. If you've got loads of fragmented relationships, you're never ever getting to a deep level of intimacy. You can't be deeply intimate with every single person within that relationship. So I guess you then don't have to meet yourself, because in relationships you meet yourself.
That's right.
And
No,
so
you've well said. What's the goal? Yeah, what is the goal? What are we doing together?
yeah, I think every relationship needs a goal, intention and purpose. I've said any relationship that I enter into has to be intentional and purposeful. If it's not that, even if the
Yeah, me
intention
as
is
well.
to have, huh?
You gave me that one as well. Changed my life, sister.
Yeah, oh, it's not changed mine
Yeah.
yet. I'm glad I gave you that one. I'm glad I gave you intentional and purposeful. I've been saying everything has to have intention and purpose. Otherwise, you're just chasing your tail in
Mhm.
trauma bonding, in meaningless connections that make no sense. You're then taking all these hooks off people, and men are then
Yeah.
that. Even for men, they're then ending up in this cat and mouse with women where they think they like them, but they don't know if they like them, because there's no intention and purpose. And
There
I,
is no intention. Just ask them. It's what I always urge women. If you're with a man, ask him, what is your intention with me?
yeah.
Just ask him
And if he
straight.
doesn't know, then you're like, okay,
There
get
is
the
no intention.
back on. He just wants to get his, well, there is. He wants to get his
Ah,
willy.
but he doesn't want to say it. Yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to just say, I just want to put my penis in you.
But sometimes, and this is what I say to men, if you're confident enough to say that, some women will say, cool.
Yeah, 100%. And that's where like
Mm.
the honesty and the communication needs to happen. Okay, so it's going to cut off in 2 minutes. I don't think Reese is going to jump in, the little turnip. But I'll message him and see if he do, because I
Little
would like
free
to.
flower. We'll get him back on next time.
Yeah, I do want to discuss this with him. But thank you so much, Simeon, for
Thank
joining
you too.
and
It's
discussing
been wonderful.
your
We
love,
gotta do
love,
it
love.
again.
100%. I'm going to be doing them every Tuesday and Fridays. Well, twice a week, I'm going to be doing different conversations and different topics, because I think exploring these ideals,
Taboo.
taboo,
Mm.
taboo. I mean, it's taboo for a lot of people because they're like,
Mm. I
um,
know.
and so yeah, I definitely
Well,
want.
thanks, Narabella. Like the feedback.
Yeah, it was beautiful, and I'm glad you found your love and you're in love.
In love, I am love.
You are love. That's what I
You are
say.
love.
You are love. I am
We
love.
are love.
Ashay. Thank you so much, Simeon. I love you.
I love you. One.
Bye. Bye.